Set number 7, slides 1 through 21 of Daniel's 70th week and the 75 days in the year of Jubilee. This is a co-presentation of the End Time Pilgrim and the TribNet. Again, the End Time Pilgrim can be found at www.endtimepilgrim.org with Dr. Gavin Finley. And we here at the Tribulation Network can be found at www.the-tribulation-network.com. And again, I am your host, Doug Krieger of the Tribulation Network, for this special 9-series presentation on the above topics that we have so mentioned. And now on to number 7. And so finally we come to Jubilee connection number 6. The trumpets of Jubilee will announce and herald the coming millennium of Messiah. And the trumpets of Jubilee will sound, closing out this age and heralding the glorious millennium of Messiah. There you have a chart of the future 70th week of Daniel, the final 7 years of the 70 weeks. This is the final week. The beginning of that, Dr. Finley depicts the harlot years, 3.5 years, and then the abomination of desolation as AOD, and then the last 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation. The glorious millennium of Messiah after 10 days of awe on Tishri 10. The coming millennial kingdom on earth has been spoken of in poetic terms by the prophets of old, especially Isaiah. Quote, "Water shall burst forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. The wilderness and the wasteland shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose." Isaiah 35. And there's a picture of millenarian bliss, where the lion is lying down with the lamb. When Messiah returns to establish his millennial kingdom, he will bring relief to those who mourn and establish a just and righteous economy here on earth. So we can be sure that he will institute the Jubilee system we see laid out in Leviticus chapter 25. It's a picture of the New Jerusalem descending from the heavens. So it appears that our attempts to lay out Jubilee cycles in the gap period during the present age of the heathen Gentiles these past 2,000 years have all been in vain. From what we have seen here and in Revelation chapter 11 and verse 2, it seems that God is not measuring out our years for Jubilee cycles right now. No Jubilees are being counted out inside this present day gap of 2,000 years. Apparently, God is only counting out the years for the Jubilee cycles in the timeline he himself has determined or cut out of time. This holy time is the 70 weeks of Daniel. Jubilees are being counted out inside the 70 weeks only, although some would contend with this, that they have gone through the 2,000-year gap. But we see that the 69 weeks are equal to 476 solar years, and then the 70th week is added thereto at the second coming of Messiah. Pronouncements regarding sabbatical Smitah years in this present era and all sorts of speculations based upon various 49 and 50-year Jubilee cycles beginning on certain special dates in past history are popping up quite frequently now. But from what we have seen, there's no solid biblical basis for any of them. No Jubilees are being counted inside this present-day gap. Unlike the sanctuary, the altar, and the people who belong to the altar of Israel's sacrificed lamb, the time we are now living in is not holy, set apart, or to be measured, like the outer court of the Gentiles. John was asked not to measure in Revelation 11, verses 1 and 2. God is not accounting for jubilees in this gap period. It has been given to the Goyim, the heathen, the Gentiles. The outer court, the court of the Gentiles. It is not to be measured. Then I was given a reed like a measuring rod, and the angel stood saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, the altar, and those who worship there. But leave out the court which is outside the temple, and do not measure it, for it has been given to the Gentiles, and they will tread the holy city underfoot for 42 months. Revelation chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. Bible scholars have been looking into the mystery of the Jubilee cycles for many centuries now. They have thought they could find them running down here in our profane earthly time, and so these vital Jubilee connections to the 70 weeks prophecy have apparently gone unnoticed. The mystery of the Jubilees. And so from what we have seen here and from the body of Old Testament prophetic poetry, we can now say this. The artists, hymn writers, and songwriters are quite correct. Out of Zion will come a deliverer in the year of Jubilee. The 70 weeks prophecy and the Jubilee cycles. For out of Zion comes a deliverer in the year of Jubilee. This again has been a special presentation, primarily from Dr. Gavin Finley of the endtimepilgrim.org website. We do encourage you to frequent his site. And this concludes our 7th presentation, and now on to presentation number 8. Again, this is your host, Doug Krieger of the Tribulation Network. God bless, and hope to see you in the 8th presentation.